Treasury Board President and Transport Minister Anita Anand. Let's get some more from our senior political correspondent, Michael Couteur, who's live on Parliament Hill, where the Prime Minister is taking that meeting. Mike, I got to pick up where the minister just left off, because I think it has a lot to do with what's happening behind closed doors. The reason I asked that question of her about whether or not there might be some exports that get excluded and not, she said it'd be premature to actually convey, a stance on that one way or the other, is because there are premiers who feel differently about that, right? It doesn't appear like everything is unified heading into this meeting. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, not at all. Certainly, we're sensing from the premiers that they think that there's a lack of urgency, certainly coming from the Prime Minister's office and from the federal government, hearing from a number of sources that they don't feel like the Prime Minister is really taking it seriously at this point, and they don't like this sort of keep calm and carry on attitude that they are hearing. They want a strong voice at the head of the table right now, and it's unclear if they feel like that is happening. Trying to figure out right now what is going on inside the room. The meeting, if it did start on time, is just about 13 minutes old, so it's unclear to see what a tone is so far. But going into this, Vassy, we had heard from François Legault, the Quebec Premier, and of course Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta, saying that they believe that President Trump, President-elect Trump, had valid reasons to be concerned about the border and concerned about issues that he did raise in those social media posts. So it wasn't that unified going into this meeting. It'll be unclear, or it will hopefully be clearer coming out of it, whether or not the Prime Minister can sort of rally everyone around to have everybody speak from the same page here. Going into this meeting, though, we had heard from David Eby, who was hoping from that Team Canada approach, also from Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, who had said, quote, going into this, we're going to make sure that we do retaliate on those tariffs. That is the only option. If they start putting 25% tariffs on the backs of Canadians and Canadians businesses, we can't sit back, noting that Ontario alone has two-way trade of $500 billion with the United States. So clearly a lot at stake here, and the premiers hoping that they get that type of fire in the belly and they get that type of strong stance from the Prime Minister so that they feel like they can rally behind him going forward.
Negotiate before we retaliate. That's what Minister Anand just said. Also, of course, saying that it's premature to opine on whether or not Canada will fight to have all imports exempt from those tariffs, or just potentially some or the other, whether parts of the country end up being pitted against each other. My guess is, Mike, that forms a big part of this meeting that's going on right now. Thanks for your reporting tonight. I appreciate it. Our senior correspondent, Mike Couture, up